In the current version of Animate, there are 3 different kinds of tweens that you can work with. One of them is shape tweens, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Anything that I draw on the screen, whether I'm using a rectangle tool or I'm using a paintbrush or a pencil, anything that I draw is a shape. When I click on the shape, I get this screen look to it, and that's how it tells me it's a shape. When we look at some of the other kinds of objects, then that will make more sense to you, but this is a shape. So I've drawn a shape on the screen. Now to animate it, what I'm going to do is, and as I drew it on frame 1. So see the black dot? That black dot means that's a keyframe. A keyframe is something that a human being draws. I'm going to come down to frame 50. I'm going to click, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. So again, here's another black dot. That is a human thing. This is a point of change. That's what keyframes are. They denote points of change. So how am I going to change this? Well, I can change it a few different ways. For this part, I'm just going to move it. So I am on this keyframe, and I move the object to this point. So on this keyframe, it's here. On this keyframe, it's here. If I click and right click, then I'm going to create a shape tween, and when I play it, then it moves across the screen. And that is how a shape tween, and that's a shape tween. Now in addition to that, I can come in and add in extra keyframes. So if I click and I right click and I insert an extra keyframe, then I can move that object here. Then when I play my animation, notice that when I put in the keyframe and I moved it, I am setting at the keyframes, I set what it does, and it fills in for me, and it dynamically changes according to where the keyframes are. So these are called tweens because it's short for in between. There are keyframes that human beings set, and the computer fills in the gaps. It fills in between with the tween frames. So that is how that works. Now, in addition to being able to move things in a linear fashion from point to point, another thing that I can do is I can make things change color. So I'm going to go this keyframe, I'm going to right click, I'm going to insert another keyframe, and I'll move this object up here. So far I have an object that's just bouncing across the screen. But if I come to one of the keyframes like this one, and I change colors to something different, now when I play it, and notice how it just changed color for me. Another thing that I can do is I can change shapes. So I'm just going to completely erase. I'm tapping the delete key on my keyboard. And notice when I did that black filled in became an open circle. That means it's an empty keyframe. And the dots mean I don't know what's going on here. I should be seeing a solid black arrow. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to draw in a different shape. And now when I play it, notice how it is morphing shapes on me. Notice how also it's doing something kind of funky there where it doesn't quite do the morph the way that you think it will. That's just part of the charm of Animate. It's sometimes a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes you create a tween and you're trying to morph shapes and it just doesn't come out the way that you think it should. So you just have to either redo it or there's a few tricks, and we'll talk about those later. But anyway, so those are the things that can be done with the shape tween. So with shape tweens, I basically have shapes, and shape tweens are the kinds of animation that I provide if it's a shape. And that's it.